We are back once again here on the channel, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about Smackdown, and I have to be honest with you guys, this wasn't exactly a good momentum Smackdown after what we got last week. I thought last week's Smackdown was very enjoyable, very good, but this week it just fell flat to me. To me, this episode fell flat. It just seems like the one thing everybody wanted to watch was the Bayley segment. Why did Bayley do what she did to Sasha Banks? To me, that's what I got from this show. That's what I got from this show, in my opinion. That's what I got from it. I didn't feel like I was really invested in the rest of the show. And yeah, that's really how I felt, to be honest. And there's a couple of things I do want to talk about, so let's run it down. The show began with Roman Reigns, that he'll be facing Jey Uso for the Universal Championship. Jey Uso thanked Roman and Paul Heyman for the opportunity. Then we had Baron Corbin and Sheamus having a little whinge about Jey Uso being the number one contender. Typical heels. But the big problem that I had with this whole segment was the fact that Roman's a heel, Jey Uso's a face, and they're like in the main event, teaming up to face off against two heels. So the fact that Jey Uso doesn't realize that this is a completely different Roman makes me think Roman Reigns is going to eventually turn on Jey Uso. That's probably the whole thing that they're going to do here. They're probably going to have Roman eventually turn on Jey Uso. So that's just really what I feel like that's the direction they're going to go with this. And from the main event, I guess you could probably tell. Next week on SmackDown, I'm pretty sure Jey Uso is going to talk about why did he show up late. Then we had the Intercontinental Championship match. It was Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn came out declaring that this is not an Intercontinental title match because Sami Zayn still believes he is the rightful Intercontinental Champion, and it should just be an exhibition match. But the match does go ahead as an Intercontinental Championship match. Adam Pearce kicks Sami Zayn out. Adam Pearce isn't exactly doing a good job at knowing how to kick people out. I gotta be honest here, Adam Pearce doesn't know the term of kicking somebody out. He did the same thing with Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre still stayed on Monday Night Raw, kicking the shit out of Orton. And then he tells Sami Zayn to leave. And what do you think happened here? Did you think Sami Zayn was going to gladly leave and just let Jeff Hardy and AJ have their match? Of course not. Even I knew this was going to happen. Even before this show began. Like, when they announced this match, I immediately knew Sami Zayn was going to screw this match over and make it end in a disqualification. And that is exactly what happened. Sami Zayn came back, threw AJ into the steps, and gave the haluva kick to Jeff Hardy. And then he walks around saying that he is the rightful Intercontinental Champion. And to be fair, they're going to do a triple threat. To be fair, I think they're going to do a triple threat at Clash of Champions. And I'm very, very sure Sami Zayn is going to walk away as the Intercontinental Champion. Because it just makes sense to do that. So then we had the Lucha Bum Party. Then we had the Lucha Bum Party take on Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro. This is a non-title match. The Street Profits made their first ever appearance on SmackDown, ruining the Champions Lounge or whatever Cesaro and Sheamus call their Cesaro and Nakamura call their little private place where they sit down and sit. I think it's called the Champions Lounge or something. I can't remember what they bloody call it. Nor do I care to remember at this point. Didn't care about this match. The Street Profits were ruining it. They were turning it into their little Street Profit party place. This distracted Nakamura and Cesaro to get pinned by the Lucha Bum Party. That's pretty much all you need to know there. Then we had Bayley. She came out with a steel chair, the same steel chair that she used on Sasha Banks. And she still has the pyro, which is still quite surprising. I thought they would have gotten rid of it for her, since there's no reason to have it, but she still has it. She grabs the chair, plucks it down, sits down with the mic in hand, points at the Titantron screen to replay the video. And I'm assuming this is the same video that they played at the very beginning of Smackdown, because I actually didn't see the beginning of Smackdown. I overslept a little too long. I'm really making a bad habit out of that a little bit, actually. But they replayed a video of what happened. And then Bayley goes on to talk about why she did what she did. She admitted that she did enjoy beating the hell out of her best friend. And she proceeds to say things that, really do make sense. She does agree. I do agree with some of the things she said. Some of the things she did make that were pretty accurate. She talked about her time in 2017 when she took on Charlotte, saying that Sasha Banks had to be there to make it all about her, instead of being all about Bayley. And also she was saying that Sasha Banks followed her to SmackDown, which, that's kind of incorrect. Sasha Banks was drafted to SmackDown. And if my memory serves me correctly, Sasha Banks was drafted before Bayley. If I remember correctly, Sasha Banks was the second overall draft pick. She was the second overall draft pick, and Bayley was like later? I can't remember exactly when. I can't exactly remember. But I do remember that. I do remember Sasha being drafted to SmackDown before Bayley. I think that's what Bayley meant by following her to SmackDown. But if Bayley wanted to mention the draft, she could have just mentioned that Becky Lynch was the first person to be drafted overall, and she believed that she should have been the first overall draft pick, not Sasha Banks, for SmackDown. Saying that Fox wanted Sasha Banks more than Bayley or something like that. But, she worded it her way, so I had to make sense of what she said there. And the other thing that she mentioned, to me it made sense. But in the back of my mind, I'm just thinking, then why did you let that happen? Bayley was talking about how she was on top of the world, how she had the SmackDown Women's title, and when they became the tag team champions, when she created Bayley DOS straps, she was talking about how she feels like Sasha Banks was so jealous of her that she wanted to become Two Belts Banks. And I was thinking to myself, I thought a while about this. And I was thinking to myself, and I thought about this to myself, and I was like, well, if Bayley didn't want that to happen, then why did you put a referee shirt on? Now, I know at the time we knew they were working together, but when you hear Bayley talk about this, it just makes you go, well, if you never wanted Two Belts Banks to be a thing, why did you put a referee shirt on? Why did you pretend Sasha won the title? And if you didn't want Two Belts Banks to be a thing, why did you beat up Kairi? Why did you beat up Kairi Sane to allow that to happen? Now, like I said, I know they were teammates at the time, but when you hear Bayley talk about it, you just left thinking, why did you let it happen then? Maybe that's why Bayley didn't help Sasha at SummerSlam. Maybe she didn't want Two Belts Banks to be a thing. But that's the big other question. That's the big main problem here. Like, I love everything about what Bayley said in her promo. I thought it was great. But the fact that she straight up mentioned that she didn't want Sasha to be Two Belts Banks makes me think maybe this whole thing was never meant to happen. This whole Two Belts thing was probably never supposed to happen. And And it just continues to make me think, why did Bayley let it happen? If Bayley didn't want it to happen, why did she let it happen? If she knew Sasha was jealous, now yes, some of you may think, well, she kept that hidden inside of her, so that way she wouldn't let Sasha know she was getting jealous. But at the same time, Sasha has constantly looked at Bayley's title. She hasn't been afraid to look at Bayley's belt, maybe even touch it a couple of times. But the thing is, the thing that boggled my mind was Bayley's line saying that about 2 belts Banks. And it just made me think, is that why she didn't bother to help her at SummerSlam? Was that her way of saying she didn't want this whole thing to happen, so she just let Sasha lose on purpose at SummerSlam? It was just so mind-boggling, and it was just led to a bunch of confusions in my head on wondering, why did Bayley let it happen? If she didn't want 2 belts Banks to happen, why did she let it happen? Why did she put a referee shirt on? And why did she beat up Kairi Sane to help Sasha get to that level? It was just very weird to me. It was very weird to me that Bayley would mention that. But again, I can see her point. I can see Bayley's point in all of it, but it's just confusing. But to me, it's very confusing. I get her point, but it's confusing. Then she talks about how she was using Sasha Banks. She said that she was using Sasha Banks. She was never her best friend. She was using her to stay SmackDown Women's Champion. And do you want to know something? I remember this. I never forget things. My brain is full of memories. My brain is so smart that I remember a whole bunch of shit. Do you remember when Charlotte Flair was on that one SmackDown when they introduced the brand-to-brand invitational? When Charlotte came to SmackDown, Sasha and Bayley interrupted her. Charlotte made a point. There was something that Charlotte said in that promo that made a valid point to Bayley pretty much admitting. She admitted a lot of stuff. She admitted that she was never her best friend, and she admitted she never cared about her friendship. Charlotte made this point. Charlotte made this point in that promo. She told Sasha to be her own woman. Don't be Bayley's lackey. That's what she said. Charlotte basically told Sasha, hey, you shouldn't be friends with Bayley. You shouldn't be friends with Bayley. She's using you. You are the only reason Bayley is the champion. And Bayley admitted it. Bayley admitted that Sasha Banks is the only reason she's champion. She straight up admitted it. She straight up admitted she never wanted to be Sasha's friend. She was using Sasha to remain champion. That is basically the point of Charlotte's promo several months ago. That was the whole point of Charlotte's promo several months ago. See, I remember these things. I'm not stupid. I'm not an idiot. I remember stuff. Bayley proceeds to call Sasha an idiot because she thinks because Bayley thinks Sasha is an idiot because Bayley does remember a lot of stuff. And yeah, she pretty much told, the gist of her promo was basically saying she used Sasha Banks to get ahead. And she was sick and tired of it being all about Sasha. And this is why it makes sense for Sasha to be the babyface. I am tired of all these people saying Sasha should be the heel. Everything in this promo that Bayley mentioned gives you the clear indication that Sasha was meant to be the babyface. It just made perfect sense for Sasha to be the babyface. It just made perfect sense. Bayley should not be a babyface. At least not for a long time. Not for a long time, she shouldn't be a babyface. The fact that Bayley just admitted everything, just admitted all the things that were going on for the last 6 months, she straight up admitted all the stuff that happened since then, just makes me go, wow, this just really proves a lot of points that I made in my previous videos. She didn't want 2 belts banks to be a thing, so why did she let that happen? Then she admits she was using Sasha. The same thing Charlotte said. The same thing that Charlotte told Sasha, be your own woman, don't be Bayley's lackey. And that's basically Charlotte saying, hey, she's using you. And Charlotte also said that Sasha was the only reason she was the SmackDown Women's Champion. And Bayley, and as I said before, Bayley admitted it. Bayley admitted that Sasha was the only reason she's the champion, because she wanted to be the champion. She was sick and tired of Sasha being in her spotlight. So, it just all comes together. It just all pieces all the puzzles together that happened over the last 6 months. Oh man, it just really pieces all those puzzles together. So Bayley ends up leaving. Then out came and Nikki Cross, because there was a big fatal 4-way to determine the number 1 contender. Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Lacey Evans, and Tamina. Why wasn't Naomi in this? Can someone please tell me why Naomi wasn't in this fatal 4-way? It made perfect sense to have Naomi be the one to challenge Bayley. It made perfect sense. But no, WWE, they wanted to go with, they didn't want to do what makes sense. You had Tamina there, so I was thinking, okay, maybe they surprise us and they make it Tamina. Maybe they surprise us and they make it Tamina, because Tamina was also former friends with Sasha Banks and Team Bad. But no. But no. Who do you think they went with? Was it Lacey Evans? Good thank Christ it wasn't her. Did they go with Alexa Bliss? I was thinking that they probably were, but thank God they didn't go with her. But they went with the third worst option, and that was Nikki bloody Cross. Seriously, how many title matches does this Scottish woman have? How many times do we have to see Nikki Cross versus Bayley? I am getting so damn fed up with Nikki Cross. I'm getting so damn fed up with this woman getting title shot after title shot after title shot after title shot. This woman doesn't make any sense. She's got her own thing with Alexa. She's got her own thing with Alexa. Let her do her own thing with Alexa. Please. Please, just let her do her own thing with Alexa. She doesn't need to be involved in this Bayley-Sasha saga. She doesn't need to be in the middle of this whole thing. She doesn't need to be in the middle of the whole thing. She doesn't even need to be a part of it. Just let her do her own thing. Jeez, it made perfect sense for Tamina to win. I know a lot of people don't like Tamina, but this is an unpopular opinion, but I think the most improved in 2020 has been Tamina. I think Tamina has been one of the most improved wrestlers in 2020. She showed personality in her rivalry with Sasha and Bayley. She showed that she actually showed she had a personality. She showed she had a character. And Tamina actually took advantage of it. Unlike a certain sassy Southern Belle. Unlike a certain sassy Southern Belle who couldn't take advantage of all the opportunities that were handed to her on a silver platter. When Tamina got her opportunity, she knocked it out of the park very well with Bayley and Sasha. It made perfect sense to make it Tamina. Because Tamina is one of Sasha's ex-friends from Team Bad. But no, WWE didn't want to use logic. They didn't want to use logic. They were just like, oh, let's go with Nikki Cross. Everybody loves Nikki Cross. And also, the other big major problem in this match is that we all knew Nikki was winning. We all knew Nikki was winning as soon as Bayley smacked Nikki Cross with the chair and Alexa doing the Sister Abigail on her. When those two situations happened, we all knew Nikki was winning. We all knew Nikki was winning as soon as those two scenarios happened. Alexa ended up leaving the match. She was all tranced from the Fiend. God, it was just so damn terrible, man. It made perfect sense to go with Tamina. If you weren't going to have Naomi, you should have went with Tamina. I am so damn sick and tired of WWE just handing title shots to Nikki Cross. Otis beat John Morrison. Miz took his briefcase again. Who cares? Otis had a few more lunch boxes and it had the actual briefcase in it, so there you go. And we had a mysterious woman. We saw this last week on SmackDown. There's this mysterious woman who's coming to SmackDown. Now, we got to see more of what she looks like. She's obviously tanned. She's got long blonde hair. I'm thinking it's Mandy Rose. But some people were... I remember making a tweet saying, I believe it's Mandy Rose. But some people were saying, Mandy has more muscle. She's a bit more thicker than this woman. A lot of people think it's Carmella. A lot of people think this new woman that we're seeing on SmackDown is Carmella. But here is something that I'm pitching. I know. It's very, very far out of reach. But I'm thinking of this because I saw her tweet this. You know how last week when this whole thing happened the first time, people saw Eva Marie tweet about it, and everybody is believing that this woman was Eva Marie? Well, we now know it's not Eva Marie because the girl has blonde hair. Eva Marie has purple hair. So who was the next former WWE female to tweet about it? None other than one of my old faves, Kelly. She made a tweet about this whole blonde female as well. She ended up making a tweet saying, and I quote, "Nice clothes. This is something Kelly would wear." What if it's Kelly? What if this mysterious woman happens to be Kelly? Now, me personally, I would love it because, you know me, I'm a big Kelly fan. I love Kelly. But it's just so out of reach. I just really doubt it. It's very out of reach. I highly doubt it's her. She probably just made that tweet about it, probably just to share her opinion. Eva Marie did this last week and everybody thought it was Eva Marie. Kelly does it this week. Now I think a lot of us are going to assume it's Kelly. But I honestly think it's Carmella. WWE is really trying to make us think outside of the box on who this woman is. But I personally think it's Carmella. I'd love it to be Kelly. Because it's definitely very out of reach. But I don't think it's her. I don't think it's Kelly as much as I wanted to think it's her. I think it's Carmella. My first guess was Mandy Rose. But I'm thinking it's Kelly. I shouldn't say I'm thinking it's Kelly because I know it's not going to be Kelly. But I'm thinking it's Carmella. And we had the main event. It was Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Sheamus and King Snorbin, as I call him. Jey Uso and Roman Reigns got the win. Roman Reigns showed up late. He did exactly what he did at Payback. He didn't show up until the very end of the match. tags himself in after Jey Uso does the Uso splash on Sheamus. Roman just delivers a spear. And that is it. That's very much the match. That was pretty much the match. So yeah, not really anything special happened there. Yeah, so as I said, I thought this was a pretty weak episode of SmackDown. The only thing I enjoyed was the Bayley stuff. Honestly, I honestly enjoyed that because I thought it was great. But at the end of the day, I personally didn't think this was a good SmackDown, other than the Bayley segment. But anyway, thank you all so much for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that thumbs up if you guys did enjoy. Comment your opinions down below. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. And apparently I found out that majority of the people that are watching my videos are people that have not subscribed to this channel. So, chop chop guys. Chop chop. Please hit the subscribe button. To the 65% of the people that have not subscribed to my channel and they're watching my videos, I'd greatly appreciate if you guys subscribed because it would really mean a lot to me. So yeah, there you go. And see you guys next time.